Just a long lost look in your eyes brings out a love that I can't disguise. So take me down to the places I've never seen. Or don't you try to kill me with kind. It's just your love that's driving me wild. Oh, from the dawn we rise, with the heart we cry, to the light we go, to the light we go. From the darkest night, from the fire inside, into the light we go, into the light we go, to the light we go.
Welcome back, guys. A game that had so much action early on. Kingzone trying to get frisky in the beginning of this one and making some mistakes. Made it into one of the most interesting and close games we've had just yet. 62 minutes to end this one eventually.
Sort of game where if you went back and corrected those early game mistakes, maybe it never goes comically long, but we only live in this reality where Kingzone were far too brazen when they were in a scaling composition where they need to be more respectful. I think there was a lot of laning mistakes by Khan in particular, which forced the Gangplank to be on the back end of trades. And then it was 6 item, Ashe versus Kog'Maw. The Kog'Maw was popping off. There was a second Elder, there was a third Elder. But one play at the end ended up deciding it. And ROX Tigers will wonder how they could not exit this game as the victors.
You notice fantastic autoing there from the side of Songyun. He nearly kept it up for his team to win this one, but a couple of fights go wrong. Kingzone eventually win this one. In the end, it's Prey and BDD doing the damage, and Khan for the nice follow-up. But the Elder fight goes this way as well, and you can see, you know, members going down the front. It just, there were so many fights like this where it was extremely close, down to one member going down and nearly deciding it. This was the craziest fight of them all.
Absolutely. When Linderon came around the backside, it looked like it would be an easy victory for the side of ROX Tigers, but he was stuffed, and then they continued to engage, and Kingzone delayed because we don't have a mini-map here. There was actually super minions onto the base, so many things happening. Lava doing 1,065 damage on one Q in the late game, such as the damage output on both sides. People running in to die, knowing they die, but perhaps they would buy time for the Winions. Insane, insane game. We don't show you the final play. That was definitely a blunder by the Rise. You look at the damage dealt. Some insane damage numbers. Look at the gold. Even though the scaling comp got there around 35 minutes, not too late by what they drafted, the gold lead meant so little. 5,000 gold at an hour into a game is basically nothing, as we saw. And unfortunately, it was the human error coming through from Lava on the final ulti that actually allowed Kingzone to close the game, because otherwise, we might still have been sitting here shouting Valdez. It could still have been going.
Yeah. Saw a lot of hate for Lava, understandably. You know, everybody was really excited for ROX Tigers to win a game up against Kingzone and get the big upset. Couple of big errors, you know, it cannot be understated that they were big, but let's first see who the MVP is going to be. It's going to be Prey on the Ashe. I feel like he had a pretty decent game overall. Do you agree with this MVP?
Absolutely. I think he could definitely be an argument. BDD made a couple too many mistakes early, whereas Prey was reliable all the way through. I actually think if he went back, he probably wouldn't have taken the Ashe, though, because the Ashe in the end was definitely flashy, and his Ashe mechanics and his aggression to flash into team fights with his Q up and try to go for AoE plays, we've seen many, many times. He does extend and improve his overall win score in his 71st game professionally as the Ashe. But Ashe's linear nature meant it was much harder for Prey to play team fights on the Kog'Maw range, so it ended up being just not necessarily the ideal pick for the late game that unfortunately was forced upon to Prey with how the mid game was such a big struggle.
It would have been interesting to see a game with a Caitlyn in it. You know, certainly would have had some more range in the fronts to be able to poke down the members of ROX, and may have even ended it earlier, but either way, the past is the past, and I'm sure Lava wants to put that game behind him. We'll see if he can bring back his consistency, because that game number 1 is a mind smasher for me. You go down to it, you're about to win. If he doesn't Realm Warp in there, they go back, they've got Elder, they can hold the minion wave, and then eventually try to come back. That's a 5-minute Elder, Papa. It would have been hard, but one of the biggest things as a pro gamer is, or a professional of any sports or anything really, is you got to put the past behind you. You cannot let game 1 haunt you. You have to have an even better game in game 2, especially when you're going up against Kingzone.
Very much easier said than done. We are, of course, the commentators trying to feed a line, and it is a standard sports metaphor, but you know, he will feel those last 2 ultis lost his team the game, which is such a frustrating thing to think. When he had a good game otherwise, when he's been one of their big stars this season, that's optimistic, but possible for Cloud9 fans to hope for in that particular case. Hello there. But at the end of the day, you're only as good as your last free throw, your last penalty kick, your last Realm Warp. That's how sports goes, and Lava is a young player, finally finding himself in spring of 2018. It's a lot to ask, and it would be definitely a step up in his reputation if he could put it to one side and perform in game 2.
Certainly, we'll see if he can do exactly that, or as we've seen many times, when teams get so close to defeating a team that's, you know, objectively better than them, when you lose game 1 and it's that close, what we see a lot of the time is game 2 is a landslide for the better team. Yep. It just goes 2-0. It's going to be hard to come back. As you mentioned, it would be fantastic for the ROX Tigers to say, okay, let's do it again, and then actually do it again and try to defeat Kingzone in game 2. But it's a gigantic task ahead of them. And guys, looks like we're ready to see if they can do exactly that. So let's jump into pick and ban for game number 2. Well, here we go. Kingzone going to be on the blue side this time around. Doesn't want to deal with the Sejuani, and the ROX haven't changed their opinion on Olaf this time around. I
wonder what slides away, though, because on blue side, you can ban Olaf, Jace, and Camille. And the Jace as a red side first ban would be definitely reaching. We know how good Khan is on Jace, but he doesn't often pick it in the first round. It should be mentioned. Now, it does hurt Linderang's effective champion pool. He loves to play the Gnar, and the Jace into Gnar is a big threat to that. So if we do see a Jace ban, I think the first round Gnar is inevitable. From the side of ROX Tigers, zeroing in on this Kingzone side, we'll be banning away the Varus. So still likely to be very early priority on either an AD carry or the best possible jungler. Seems like a Sejuani first pick is not going to happen. That's banned. Olaf's banned. Skarner's banned. When it comes to power junglers that can be blind picked, we're actually getting pretty low on that particular side.
We have another ban towards the side of Kalista that did come in the second round when Kingzone was on the red side, but this time they want to make sure that Songyun cannot get that pick, regardless of the success or the lack thereof for Songyun's Kalista. They still just do not want to see it here.
Galio taken out. Sion available very often will be flex picked. But that was on red side last time for Kingzone. They're going to do it on blue, because why not?
Easy.
So the first pick there was inevitable, but what does ROX Tigers get themselves as a duo? Zyra Khan is available, can reach for comfort in any lane. The jungle pool has been pinched, but where do you go as a must draft? You feel like it's almost situational junglers unless you want to go for a very early Kha'Zix. So it's probably just going to be Zyra Khan on red side, and then waiting for more information for the side of ROX Tigers.
Yeah, in terms of the stat, it would definitely be a return to something that has been working for the ROX Tigers. 4-1 on the Xayah for Songyun, 3-1 on the Rakan for Keys. So if you want to go with something that has worked before, more often than not, certainly one of the strongest bottom lane duos will be the pick.
Now, Kingzone could stop the flex, and they're going to actually stop thinking and ban in, lock in, sorry, a very early Kog'Maw. So they wanted the Kog'Maw in game 1, as we alluded to, like a bit of a takeaway after they were setting up a Kog'Maw drop, and they just straight up take it in the first round. We knew they wouldn't go for a mid laner, because they're going to flex the Sion further, and Sion and Kog'Maw have that synergy, because if it is Sion mid lane, Kog'Maw can shoulder the damage in the mid game to absolutely take over a game before it gets to late game and the damage falls away. ROX Tigers already feeling the potential of it being a very low threat comp outside of the Kog'Maw to lock in a very early Ornn. Flex is going to be the top lane pick, of course. No flex pick, as we already have the Rakan locked in. So backline access against the Kog'Maw is something you want. That's what the Ornn ultimate from range is able to give you.
It's fantastic to combo that up with the side of Rakan as well. You just knock up a bunch of people, and then Rakan goes in. You can get a little mini bouncy castle if you can land those abilities. We are going to see the GP taken away from Khan, so definitely respecting the mid Sion on this side.
Definitely when you see the Kog'Maw, you expect it because the comp they ran on the red side for the debut of the mid lane Sion a couple of series ago against SKT, I believe it was indeed with the Kog'Maw as the sole threat. So we'll wait and see if that is going to be enacted here and what the top lane pick will be into the Ornn. Definitely a lot of carries. Should mention that last time these two teams met in game number 2 was the Khan pentakill on the Riven. Much less likely to run Riven against the Ornn. The Camille would have been reached for, but it's taken away. So we're slapping down a lot of the big picks for Khan. If you look at most played next, would actually be the Gnar, which hasn't been a big pick for them recently. And then into the situational Fiora, Vlad, and Riven is considered in the past.
Yeah, still undefeated on the Jace as well. We'll see if he's thinking about that pick into the Ornn. But first we're going to have to wait and see as the Jarvan is also taken away. A little bit of trolling here from the side of Songyun.
So haven't had a Xin Zhao in Korea. I know it was a pick for a moment, a hot minute in the LPL, but...
Hot second.
Yeah, it's been bad. It's been nerfed also on patch 8.4, so it'd be very surprising.
Down to the last second, and we know Songyun is a bit trolly. We are going to see that very normal and standard Zac.
Not as standard for this man in particular, though. Songwon has really played almost no Zac this season. It hasn't been a big pick for him. He likes to have a combat advantage, so they're losing a lot drafting the Zac from Songwon's side. It's his first game of Zac on the year, so it's definitely a defensive jungler. I think it's time to get aggressive. The Nidalee for another threat is very likely. When you see a Zac, you start going hunting. You have mid lane priority either with another strong blind pick or just the Sion. So with Sion mid lane, you like Nidalee for aggression. They're showing the Darius, which is good into the Sion, and people have been playing around with it in the LPL.
So good on solo queue as well. I'll just mention that. But
and it was played in NALCS, but it was just top lane Darius rather than into the Sion matchup. It's very good into Sion. But the Gnar is taken, so top lane Gnar. See what Linderung wants as an answer.
Yeah. So Khan going to be jumping onto the Gnar. We'll see if he can make some big team fight plays. Known for winning his lane, but we'll see what he can do later on in the game. Looking towards the end here.
It's very hard to find something that actually damages down the Sion in mid lane. You have to go for something that can be answered by a Banner of Command and a Abyssal Mask. You can already plug and play that those will be the items that Sion goes for very early. They're going to go for Taliyah to try to actually fight for the ability to fight early, but the problem you see here is that they have Gnar into Ornn, which will have priority, especially after the Phage is purchased. Sion can ignore magic damage in almost every matchup, and then Peanut starts invading with his lanes, and things go from bad to worse for Songwon on his first game for 2018 on the Zac, a late convert on the pick. So unless Songyun and Key are having their way with the bot lane and actually being a pressure valve, you worry that the pressure of coming off a 62-minute loss into Nidalee being set up for success may be too much for ROX Tigers to deal with.
Yeah, they're going to have to put game number 1 behind them as well, as Key was the first blood given over to the Tomcats of Gorilla in game 1 as well. So you got to put that behind you, try to go into it. It's very interesting, the Taliyah pick. Definitely one that's fantastic for following up on CC. So if the Ornn gets an ultimate or the Rakan goes in, you have a lot of targets available for the seismic shove, and so I like the idea in the team fights.
It can troll the Sion if he tries to roam, because the Weaver's Wall does interrupt the unstoppable onslaught. It's probably not something we're going to see, but it is a relevant thing to talk about, because Sojourner and their mid laner troll their own Sion, so we know that interaction is there. But early laning phase, and specifically if Nidalee can go red smite and just kill the Zac in his jungle, is the big thing ROX Tigers need to avoid, because then the snowball feels inevitable.
Yep, Peanut wants to get revenge for dying early in his own jungle the last time around in game 1. So it's going to be an interesting one. We'll see if someone can hold the pressure, and if ROX Tigers can bring it back going into game number 2. Well, Kingzone fans have come out in throngs today. They're all here. The entire stadium is filled up with people.
But you know what? They're early dinner plans that you often have as a Kingzone fan. Thinking, yep, 2 hours, that should be enough for our best of 3 to end. That has not happened here. Scheduling nightmare for them as ROX Tigers had, honestly, the inside track to winning game 1, but weren't able to do it. Now we move into game 2, where it's all about the mid game for the side of Kingzone. This will almost 100% be the Rage Blade on Kog'Maw to play around a 1-item power set, which we did see, we should mention, from ROX, but just sticking with on-hit to be able to do damage early to mid. You're not worried about the late game damage here, as Lava's going to face check Peanut.
They had a word to see these 3 coming up, actually, on the bottom side, so they knew they were traveling together, and pings were there, and Peanut says, hey, I can get some free damage, might as well. Nice dodge there using the Talia passive, the rock surfing to get out of the Aurora the Slayer, but either way, Lava down a little bit of health to start off the lane.
I want to talk a bit more about the Kingzone comp because we're seeing more and more teams pick up the mid lane Sion, and some of them struggle and some of them do well. Because they get Kog'Maw early, they have mixed damage threat, because Rage Blade Kog'Maw does a lot of magic damage. Wit's End as a second item is very possible. They have Nidalee Jungle as well, so they don't have the single damage profile we saw FLICKR Freaks win with. That was with the Gangplank in the top lane, the Ezreal in the AD carry role. But this time, we're going to have mixed damage. It's all about 2 items, and it's all about the Aurora the Slayer. We know how generous that hitbox is. The Q has a generous hitbox as well. That one's intended. One with the Aurora the Slayer is going to be addressed in 8.5, but this week on 8.4, enjoy plenty of the mid lane Sion because you get Banner of Command, you control space, and then the Kog'Maw does the rest.
Yep. Talia, an interesting pick into the Sion. Generally, you're going to be the one winning the pushing war in the mid lane, but Sion's fantastic at pushing as well, especially early on. So, having a fun time keeping up with Talia in the mid lane. You notice that he has all 3 stacks of his Corrupting Pot, whereas Lava has burned both of his potions.
You do wonder if Corrupting Potion would have been the better choice. Is this going for a gank here?
He wants to knock him up into the spear, and the last second flash. Don't know if that would have killed him, but Peanut definitely would have thought about diving in for a first blood.
He certainly would have chunked him out enough that the follow flash would have been there, so the flash is smart. But this is what Sion brings, lane control, great gank assist, even pre-6. With the ability to just channel up the Q, such a long knock-up in the early game. He controls the wave, he builds a Catalyst into the Abyssal Mask, and then into the Banner of Command. And you get that first Baron, the game ends on patch 8.4. So it's uniquely strong on 8.4. The small Banner nurse will definitely hurt it on 8.5, but there's something you always have to respect, and one of the reasons that Sion is a frequent blue and red side ban.
BDD, we've seen him on this pick multiple times. He's had some decent success on that. I say multiple times, but I actually looked down at my notes. He's only played it once, but it was a win.
He was the first this season to play the mid lane Sion, the second ever in the LCK behind Kuro, who played it, we always mentioned, 3 years ago. It's back with a vengeance. Lava wasn't able to afford a refillable potion, means he just has the 2 health pots, and he'll probably have to buy more because for all the Slayer, it's no fun.
Yeah. Even picks up the boots. Will definitely help with trying to dodge out with that.
Hey, you've played against Sion. I mean, surely you know that the boots don't help you that much on this patch.
Yeah, I mean, what you really need to do is try to rock surf as much as possible, but it's hard when you're trying to push the lane as well. So, because once you get into combat, not able to proc that passive.
Kingzone, very competitive in the bot lane. No real CS lead here, as the last 2 minions of the wave will almost answer the 3 CS lead that was there. But mid lane control is there for BDD. Gnar is going to move towards a Phage and get control, and then Nidalee will continue to be aggressive, so things looking good for Kingzone. But all theoretical for now. Only the Flash, the real profit that Kingzone have for their early game focus draft.
Lava, well, we mentioned he had to gather his mental again. He had to grab it, put it back into his head after it fell out from game number 1. And when you're going into, okay, hold that thought, Gorilla gonna go down first blood in the bottom lane. He gets his revenge this time around.
Yeah, we needed to see the start of that to see why Gorilla was so far up and died in the 2v2. Very uncharacteristic mistake. It was the side of ROX Tigers that gave up a 2v2 kill in game 1. Don't know what was going on there, Gorilla. We need to think better of that one. We'll get the replay now. Gorilla walks up, well, ground entrance into Ignite, until he's basically dead. Well, That was just a poor decision made by Gorilla there. Not sure what the communication was, but they give up the kill.
Yeah, it's insult to injury too because they burn the flash and the heal. Peanut thinking about coming in here. Look at how low Lava is. If he could land the spear, ooh, the tower almost trolling him a bit. But up in the top side, Khan gonna hit level 6 first, trying to do that continuous damage. The house gonna be thrown. He can't quite 100-0 onto Linderoth.
Gonna try to ult the minion wave here and do some damage as well.
He's got that
he's
brittle with the
all in.
double knockup. He might do this. The one extra, not gonna be enough on the end of it. Khan, one last auto to make it 3, and well, the top lane is getting pretty fun.
You know you have no autofill top laners when no one flashes through all of that. The damage calculations from both on point. They can both return. No worries, no harm, no foul. CS lead for the Gnar, expected. As Khan doesn't seem to want to actually back. We'll just go back now. But you'll notice very early Aegis already from the Scions. The Banner of Command might actually be a first item, even before the Catalyst.
Might have a gank down here, no flash on the side of Gorilla, and no heal on Prey. So with Lava coming up, Weaver's Wall, they were thinking about it, but Lava walks over a ward, and in fact removes the ability for Sungwon, although he's still here. Not gonna go for it, looks like.
Gorilla doesn't need to worry about experiences early into the game, so it's just shadowing.
They're trying to bait him in, and there's going to be the knock-up onto a Gorilla. Misses that elastic. Slings it onto him, but now trying to get on top of Gorilla, and that's going to be enough damage as Songyun picks up the kill this time around. The repeat gank after the flash goes down.
And this is what ROX Tigers needed. This was supposed to be the lane that won for them, and it's winning in a way they could not have expected. Prey and Gorilla not able to repel pressure. Like their reputation shows, no great skin knew they was trying to bait for too long, and the shield doesn't actually come through. So Great Health gets nothing. And Peanut hasn't been able to make the Zac accountable. It's actually been more muted than you would expect, other than the lane control in mid lane they've gotten this. Here we go.
Gonna miss as the heal at least is taken away, essentially, just for the trade of the Scion Ultimate.
And you say trade, but that trade is not as relevant as this trade. They're looking to turret dive.
Here we go again. It's going to miss this time around, but he can knock a couple of heads together, and here we go, level 6 on the side. They're trying to get 2 kills here. Gorilla getting extremely low, but the red is going to come in. The Feather Storm should be able to at least get Gorilla, and there it is, and Prey now going to flash away. Thinking about the dive, but here's Scion, big brother Scion, BDD, trying to come in and help him out. Let's see if he can help here. And just a bit of damage. He's trying to get the double stun, but here's Talia now trying to come into the backside. Going to go on the left side of the wall. Very smart. The follow-up from Sungwon is going to have that passive proc, and that's going to be 1 kill. And now BDD's in some trouble as Lava's got nearly full mana, and the chase here is going to be incredible. The flash coming in. The mid-seismic shove, though, as Lava cannot follow up.
And the buddy system that was working for Kingzone last time, 2 days ago, was acting against them here. They keep piling one by one when they're weak and giving over bonus kills. BD may not have died. The Kog'Maw lived comically long, great sidesteps from Prey, but ultimately only his death was guaranteed. BD returns to mid lane, but it seems the crime has been bot lane. Prey could have recalled earlier, but thought with Gorilla respawning, he wasn't going to be baited. He thought he could stay for that extra minion wave. They can't keep them under turret, and Prey is doing his damnedest at level 5 to be relevant. Sidestepping the ultimate there very, very impressively. But overall, BDD eventually joins. They don't really find any value out of me. They knew his ult was down. It was used to blow the heal from the Talia, and even if you push out against Talia, she's got a global, she's going to be there, and in the end, the turret goes down, so does Prey, and BD gives up his flash and all of this.
Had Lava hit the seismic shove on the end, it's most likely that BDD also would have gone down, so nearly picking up even more worthiness from all of that trading, and that means that the first blood turret going to go down here before 9 minutes as well. So extra gold onto an already very fed Songyun, 2-0-2 already.
And the cornerstone of the game plan in the early to mid game is Rageblade Kog'Maw. The Rageblade's looking like a long time away, Valdez. But the fact that he's behind in CS, only has double daggers in his inventory. Gorilla's died 3 times already, and it's been the one strategy that's worked against Kingzone. Find a way to actually be able to get advantages around bot side. We know that Nidalee will never be there. We know that Peanut will never really be there. Just as an identity, Kingzone never looked for assistance around bot lane. It can be exploited. We saw Trick and BBQ do it. And in this game, the 2v2 kill into the jungle assistance has gotten the ROX Tigers all sorts of advantages, and also the first Drake of the game.
It's kind of interesting to take a look at Peanut throughout all of this. You know, we wonder, okay, where was he in a lot of these ganks and plays that ROX was making? Well, he was farming up. Zach has 3 assists, but Peanut is ahead about 30 CS. So he's been taking as much of the jungle as possible. Means that he does get a very early finish on his completed jungle item at least.
Wait and see what it means, as Peanut does find Songwon and has 1 round of damage already. Peanut actually has to play around his bot lane now, because it doesn't really matter how many items he gets. If Kog'Maw doesn't have Rage Blade, they will find it very difficult to win a team fight. 20-minute Baron is the only way you can see Kingzone breaking open the game open in a severe way. That would obviously be the gold standard with how early the Banner of Command will be. Peanut walks around, and I think ROX Tigers can afford to just disengage, knowing that bot lane is in a great spot.
Certainly sitting pretty so far, as yeah, Peanut with all that extra farm, he is 2 levels still up on someone even after someone gets the Raptors. So he's got that going for him at least. Perhaps later on he can help out the Kog'Maw with some heals and all that good stuff that Nidalee brings to the table.
Now, turret going down does mean the lane assignment can be Sion in the bot lane and Kog'Maw farming in a short lane in mid. That would sound pretty ideal, given how much struggle he has, and that will happen. So turret going down early brings a gold lead to ROX Tigers, but safe farming for the Kog'Maw. So we'll see if Key, with that extra space to roam, can actually make him accountable. And the Rift Herald will certainly be an uncontested objective for ROX Tigers.
Yeah, BDD all the way down in the bottom side. Prey and Gorilla just trying to put together some farm. Trying to take all the pennies out of the couch cushions right now, going into the mid lane. And as you mentioned, completely uncontested. Even if they did have vision, they wouldn't have gone on to that one. So let's see how ROX can do in terms of speeding up this game with the lead they already have. Maybe a Rift Herald into the mid lane. We'll see what they want to do.
Breaking the turret may bring some farm to the Kog'Maw, but the big problem is that, I'll hold the point.
The ultimate's going to come in. The Riddle will miss, but the follow-up does. And here's Tom Kent's. The flash coming in, though. And the appearance of the bottom lane into the top side means that he will get away.
I mean, the duo were in mid lane wave clearing and actually walked over, so Key's going to get vision. They're going to look to cut them. They try to defend this turret. It's only Key by himself, though.
Ooh, that's
awkward.
Yeah, but he does get out, and no Rift Herald usage just yet here from Zach.
Definitely could have been used for a chunk, but probably would not be enough to actually kill the turret. They back away. Sion desperately wants to be in that same lane as the Talia with Banner of Command, because what is an AP mid champion at 13 minutes in the game going to do against a Banner of Command minion? There's nothing you can do, but that means he has to be in the bot lane. So he's not in the mid lane. He doesn't have roam possibilities with the ultimate, Unstoppable Onslaught. So that means that things slow down. Some bot lane turret damage is welcome, but Peanut has to understand they do not control the river, especially when Zion Rakan are first to rotate.
Helping out with the leash there. Thank you very much, Peanut, says Lava, who does eventually pick up that Rift Scuttler. Give him some extra vision there in the river. He's pretty much just under the turret so far against that Banner Command, so we'll be pretty happy about that. Thinking about the mid lane, still no Rift Herald usage. Looks like he's using it right now. There it is.
Gonna draw Sion over, you would imagine, but will that be enough? One charge is going to be about 15% left on this mid lane turret.
Trying to chunk it out as much as possible early on and begin to move in, threatening that slingshot in, and that's going to be enough to take down the second turret of the game. ROX Tigers with that turret going to go ahead 2,000 gold.
It's a great read from ROX. The moment the Prey is in lane with a Rage Blade, you worry that there'll be a turn, but Prey with no items means that you're happy to make advantages. So good to use the Rift Herald early. They break a second turret. Third one will be more difficult unless, say, 3 or 4 man rotation, as they don't have vision topside. Second Ocean Drake is spawning. Peanut has been playing single player, but has a lot of farm. The farm doesn't matter until the Kog'Maw has damage behind the beefiness they have with the Sion. So for now, Peanut's gold lead doesn't really matter.
They're really trying to pick on Lava here as much as possible. Perhaps a Sion ultimate or some sort of CC with a follow-up spear would be enough. We'll see if they go in. There it is, Roar the Slayer into the ultimate. Will be flashed here, but right into it, and the spear's gonna land, and over the wall goes Peanut, picking up finally the first kill for Kingzone.
And you think there's outplay against Sion, not against BDD's Sion. He had both summoners up, so did Lava. Didn't matter, able to pick up the kill. Nidalee does the rest. The single player ends. He's finally playing co-op, Valdez.
He's finally willing to share some of that farm. Look at how much he has, 131. Just 10 behind the Kog'Maw they've got on their team.
Watch the replay here. It's very hard to make this play work because Flash and Heal is up on Lava, but he knows exactly what to do. The hitbox is generous. Goodbye, Lava. You're dead. Nicely played from Peanut. They get an advantage around the bot side. Here we go.
Fighting the top side here as Gorilla just get low, but look at that. The 3-man ultimate from Khan is going to be enough to take out one kill. Now someone getting low. Looks like he will just barely survive, but a huge turnaround from Khan.
Yeah, the turret dive there was definitely ill-advised. They were too confident they could take things down. Khan is able to repel it. The Drake spawns in 10 seconds. That could have been their setup. They could have been bot lane and not trying to find this third outer turret so easily and so early. They back away, a kill goes the way of Kingzone, and they're actually ahead in gold in spite of the flow of play in the early game.
Yeah, very, very close. Overall, maybe just a difference of about 50 gold, and it looks like Peanut gonna come in here and say, well, you guys tried to dive, let me try to get this second Ocean Drake. Seongwon will poke his head in, though. They could try to make a play, but you notice that Songyun is not really that close.
That was really nicely done. BDD held the full channel. Seongwon couldn't step away from it. BDD goes away. Great goaltending around the objective. Gets the answering Ocean. We'll have a third Ocean this game. All right.
I mean, it was a beautiful day today. There was nothing but sun, no rain here in Korea. No connection that I can make.
Remember where this game is put. Remember what our expectations were at Champ Select, and also having seen a very similar comp from Kingzone not a week ago. Prey has Rage Blade and is moving towards his big power spike at 2 items. Kingzone should win a lot of 5v5s, even though Songyun is cheating and has extra gold and is further ahead in his build than you would imagine. So 5v5s are now possible with the Rage Blade if Kingzone pick the right 5v5s.
Well, certainly ROX have been trying to get in deep underneath turrets. They're not scared to fight. And again, another push up on the top side nearly takes out that third turret so far.
No second conduit to go for that auto. The defense continues as Nidalee is considering an all-in onto the Ornn in mid-side, but we'll just keep farming. Continues to play back to single player. The co-op was just a single session. He's going to hold down now. Go back to the single player. Rod of Ages on the way from Peanut. Same build he went for last time. We mentioned Abyssal Mask, Banner of Command. That is the build for the Sion, almost online. Seongwon's getting real frisky, though.
They're going in. They want to get the Kidnapper, at least the Flash, and they will do exactly that onto Gorilla. So less saving potential if someone does get caught on the side of Kingzone.
Ina is now 60 CS ahead, which represents 15 camps.
Yeah.
That's a lot of camps.
It's big, you know, it's not as flashy, right? It's so much gold, a lot more than the 3 assists that Seongwon got.
Do consider the gold has not been spent on now, it's been spent on Rod of Ages, so it's delayed. It's setting up here.
Oh boy, that's a big wall of Prey in the front. The Devourer is not coming in just until the last second, but it's too late, and now Gorilla getting low. Khan with the Meganar is gonna hit 3. Meanwhile, I'm on the side is gonna be soloed up here by BDD. One more will do it with the knockup coming in, but it comes out, and finally they're able to get that kill. Now Songyun in the front line getting low. Looks like Khan trying to tip away at him, and he will do exactly that. Finally, Seongwon will go down, and Linderong low as well. He's saying, I'm just leaving. Somehow, Seongwon takes out Peanut before he officially dies, but definitely a good fight for Kingzone.
The Kog'Maw was supposed to be the crown jewel. The Nidalee had all the items, but Sion was able to be the answer. And the consistent damage was by Gnar, of all people, at this 19-minute fight. We're early enough into the game where the Gnar damage with the Black Cleaver stacking up is massive. And BDD, if he can do one thing, it's keep a fight going with consistent PLCC. He soloed down Lava with his base damages. Watch the replay here. If you told me that Prey and Peanut go down first and Kingzone win a fight, I wonder how. And this is how we get to get the actual information onto that. It was a great play. Gorilla had No Devour range at the start, so he goes down. But BD just solos out Lava with the instant unstoppable onslaught, even through the W, the grand entrance, kills him, and then Gnar on the back end is basically an AD carry in this fight. He does the best impression of Kog'Maw you could ever ask for. They take down closest targets, all in to kill Nidalee and Kog'Maw, not enough. In the next fight, if those two people live, that's going to be a problem as well.
Somehow the Zac did respawn out of his passive and gets the kill onto Peanut. Just a funny end to things, but this is a pretty crazy situation, a very sad game so far for Lava as he's being picked on left and right. Well, speaking of which, trying to pick on Peanut here, who does flash, but he is way too far up in that river, and he's going to get picked off.
And Baron spawned. They might even consider turning onto his 2.5 items onto Songyun. It's actually a pretty tense moment. That's why Khan realizes, hey, I need to walk up and start clearing this vision.
Yeah, he's going to hop away here, but he is 1-on-4 potentially.
And there's the Baron start.
Here we go. The second they get out of vision.
Now Sion can do a lot of work in this close choke.
The wall comes in, and it's going to be a 5-on-3 here as Prey is just on the other side of this. They're going to knock up the Tom Kent. In the meanwhile, Prey in the back line trying to do that damage. Gorilla does not go down. The big Sion smash is going to come in, but Prey, he doesn't have his W available now. He doesn't have any mana. What is he going to do now? He's trying to flash away. And finally, he's not going to take out Khan on the left side. BDD all alone now. He's going to be going down on this side. A double kill going over to Songyun, and the rest of them on the run.
They end up getting baited into a longer fight than they wanted. Prey will die as well.
There he does go down, finally, in the end of it. And Gorilla looking to go down here as a 4th death on the side. A double kill, 2 of them. This one going over to Lava.
One by one, they go down after Peanut was in the wrong place at the wrong time. He was on the strong side of the map for ROX after being on the weak side for the majority of the game. Assassinated in the front line. And from there, the Weaver's War called Disarray. They thought they could re-engage. They thought they could make something happen. But no mana onto the Kog'Maw doesn't allow for a turn. This is a really well-constructed fight overall by Lava, because Prey uses the end of his mana and gets 2 autos with his W and a living artillery, and they zoom. He can't actually do the damage. If it's full mana on Prey, I think they can clean this up, as BDD is able to get a huge decimating smash and start the fight, but they can turn on to Khan, they can play front to back and ignore the poor little Kog'Maw in the back line, and that means that Kingzone lose big. They lose the maximum in this extended fight.
Well, you've talked about 8-second stuns before, and Talia, Lava certainly doing his job in that one, forcing Prey to go as he's desperately trying to help out in the fight. And I would have to agree, if he had the mana, they could have cleaned that one up. There were 4 members of ROX Tigers stunned at one point in that fight, but they just did not have the damage to follow up on it. So just like that, you got 1 Baron very early on in the game, and the push will begin.
Songyun is ridiculously powerful. He has Zeke's Convergence, 3 items, Infinity Edge complete already at 23 minutes. I don't know if there's a team fight they can win with Prey still at 1 item. So because they left bot lane out to dry, while Peanut was farming up, while everywhere else was going okay, they now double down on some poor fights, and they cannot win a 5v5, and Songyun is monstrously fair.
Feels like he's playing solo queue at this point, as they're not going to stop here. They want to push on in. No Roar of the Slayer is going to push him back. He's got to be careful, though. Warren Ultimate is coming in, going to try to knock up Peanut, does go wide, as ROX say, well, we're not going to try to bite off too much as we can chew, however you say that. But they do back off, and they're just going to be happy with that 1 inhibitor.
Sound like you were reading a Korean idiom there, rather than the English one. It's bite off more than you
along the way.
Bite off more than you can chew.
Yeah.
So we'll have that one out there. Imagine some of our English second language viewers will appreciate that particular one.
Thanks, Papa.
No problem. The Baron in the bot lane doing plenty of work. As unfortunately, that's all Sion can really contribute at the moment. As my God, Songyun is the most fed and farmed you could ever imagine. Getting to him is almost impossible. How are they going to get there? They're going to have Gorilla go for a one-way trip and try to launch the Sion into the backline. Backline is not going to be a happy place. So this means their comp, which is all about fighting front to back, at this timer. When it reads 25 minutes, you should be able to say, ah, yes, they decide to fight, they win. Because they have so much beef for the Kog'Maw to fight behind. The Kog'Maw is so far behind, and both Ki and Seongwon have backline access. that the Kog'Maw isn't going to have more autos in a fight. Sungyun's going to do more damage. And that means that Kingzone have to wait out the Baron, another minion wave or so, and they also have to basically wave the white flag for the next majority of the game.
If we turn to my Peanut Cam, even though he is Flame Horizoning Seongwon here as a jungler, he still doesn't really do much.
Nope.
He's just chilling. He's throwing out spear after spear, and it really doesn't do anything. They engage onto the Kog'Maw, but it's just another turret that goes down. Weaver's Wall is helping out very, very much. They want this inhibitor too. Going to be engaging on the Kog'Maw once again, and they get the kidnap with the mid-air devour from the side of Gorilla is going to get him. They're looking to re-engage here. Khan with no Narbar, but someone getting pretty low means that they're going to have to back off for now.
A lot of respect being shown. Bina has some decent poke with the Void stuff, but not touching damage. They're trying to go Khan. Gorilla is some sort of MVP, stopping this game from ending.
Surely, and
re-engage!
BDD's gonna get a 3-man knockup, but he just eventually got out. Look at Songyun and his damage. Finally, the Kog'Maw looking to go down. Peanut does as well. So I'm gonna have his passive popped here. Not sure if they can save him. Trying to re-engage. Songyun once again. He does get stunned by Khan, and that's the only reason why he's still alive.
Prey cannot do the damage, though. This sort of fight works perfectly in another game. The bot lane behind. He goes up.
He goes up, picks off the AD carry, and backs off. Thankfully, Gorilla in position, and the communication there, they pick him off somehow, some way.
He goes in the front line and assassinates someone 1v3 because he has the Devour up. Prey with another hero play. The third item is there, and they're winning this game. They're just about staying stable in it because Prey can repel them.
Well, this is the kind of play you need if you want to be the best team in Korea, right? You have to have the hero plays when it truly matters, when you are behind.
I feel like Tom Kent stopped this game from ending 4 times in one passage of play. Devour is a pretty cool ability. This is an insanely massive unstoppable onslaught. It does 500 damage to Songyun. He has to heal, not to die, to incidental damage. Perfect re-engage, but there's no items on Prey. He can't actually lap up. If the Hurricane is there, he's hitting everyone. They're dying. It's not. The end of this fight is what needs to be focused on, as the minimap also does.
Yeah, we're having an engage meanwhile. And it looks like Gorilla will just back off on the end of this. But look at Prey. So you want to fight? Okay, don't look at Prey. Look at Gorilla dying. As Prey now, he is the guy you got to look at as the head's trying to be bashed here. And the kidnap with the flash, but he's going to flash out of it. Doesn't get the kill, though.
Prey's still moving.
Still going 1v3. What is going on? But at this point, he's trying to get away, and finally the re-engage, he does trade at least 1-for-1 in not a great position for them.
Man, Prey is having a monster game. Kingzone do lose their AD carry and support eventually. They want to take at least an inhibitor. We see Peanut and BDD at the top of your screen answering the super minions. Remember that they're going even or slightly better. When super minions are pushing to their base for the better part of this entire time, it's 15 seconds till the respawn comes on the mid lane inhibitor. So for 4 minutes, they go even. That shouldn't happen, but they've been able to teamfight and go even, and Kog'Maw buys himself a Hurricane, and Kingzone buy themselves a hope and a prayer of turning around this game, because there still is the outscale for ROX Tigers. It's earlier because of how many items Songyun have, but if BDD can manage a couple more heroic ultimates, who knows what's possible.
Gorilla, he's been so on point, always in position to devour and Prey. I have to say, just the duo, the two of them are playing out of their minds. There was no way to get out of that one after they take the Ocean Drain.
Well, the moment that he gets hit by the Q, you think he's dead, but he keeps going forward, flashes forward to not die, wants to take one with him, sidesteps the seismic shove. I'm play-by-playing it, it's so damn hype by what Prey's doing. And it was a replay of all things.
Yeah.
We back away, we take a deep breath. Tom Kench is able to finally get an item. He has the Knight's Vow. Prey has 3 items. It's narrow, but you feel like team fights in the next 6 minutes are achievable. Difficult, but achievable for Kingzone.
They want to get Khan here. They're using everything to get this Gnar, but again, Gorilla's in position.
Mega Narbar's up as well!
He wants to re-engage, and there's the Scion into the back line. They have the Kog'Maw free hitting this time, and this is going to be Kingzone's fight to win. Lava in the back line, not enough damage, and they're just going to try to disengage after this one. They get the engage they truly wanted as Gorilla baits them all in with the help
still going.
Prey moving forward. Lava trying to 1v3. He might be able to. This is Talia. Keep in mind, she can be so good at kiting people, and at the end of it, the crowd immediately becomes hushed.
What an insane re-engage by BDD. Gets a whole team knocked up. They're able to finally free hit with the Kog'Maw. It's enough to stabilize them. This is the time we mentioned when things could happen. They're looking for force, though. They're teleporting on a damn trap.
Whatever you gotta do, the trap's coming in to real effect this time around. And Lava, ooh, nice spear there. Looks like that may discourage them as they want to just go onto the Baron here. It's 4-on-3, it looks like right now. Seongwon and Linderong running as fast as they possibly can to get to this Baron. It's going to be thin, but they do have the smite in the pit from the side of Peanut. Down it goes. Khan trying to re-engage, but does at least get the flash.
Double flash.
Speaking of re-engages, here comes the ROX Tigers. The action never ends. It's going to be the bouncy castle here onto Khan, but they don't have the damage. And Gorilla in position again to save Khan. Can he get out himself is the real question. BDD trying to be the hero. He does flash away. Finally, Gorilla makes it out.
This is the most tremendous fiesta I have ever seen. That Kingzone are still in this game with so many micro outplays. ROX Tigers keep bashing their heads against them. Someone's going in again.
And this time it's not going to pay off as Spray's going to take him out. And here comes BDD. And finally, Peanut's going to pick up another kill. As Key in the front line is going to eat it as well. Seongwon baits 3 members of his team into their deaths.
They're going to win this game, Valdez. I don't know how, I don't know why, but Kingzone keep fighting back. BDD's mid-game Scion has been heroic. Whoever he's getting tips from needs to give me the tips. His Scion is outstanding. They keep fighting back. The items are there for the Kog'Maw. Sangyun can't actually fight front to back because Scion's in the back lane every time. Going for these things. They're going to get mid lane outer turret finally at 31 minutes. Sangyun's going to need to look to his team. He has 4.5 items. He's incredibly farmed and fed. But right now, for the next 3 minutes, Kingzone is still in control.
The positioning out of BDD, Prey, and Gorilla have been the MVPs of this fight. And you think about why is Scion even in this game? They decide to ban Galio out instead of the Scion. They go with Olaf, Skarner, Galio as their first 3 bans, and it was the easiest first pick. Peanut, he's playing Nidalee, so he's feeling confident, but you got to be real careful about this one as you have all the CC in the world. He's going to be knocked up. They try to save him. This time, Gorilla cannot even eat him over the wall. And speaking of walls,
it is level 16, so 8-second duration, like you mentioned, Valdez. The chase is on.
Yep, coming on in here, trying to Abyssal Voyage, and he gets them out. Somehow, some way, Gorilla saves another member.
How do I get Gorilla insurance? It seems like the best deal ever. You can't die. He's there for everyone. He's got a group discount, 4 members for the price of 1 in this particular game. They back away. Sangyun is powerful. Nidalee is 30 seconds on respawn, and they outscale. And like, you can't help but think this could still be a Kingzone 2-0.
Seongwon looking for it again. He's going to knock him into the inhibitor, and finally it looks like Gorilla will not have it. Key going to engage with the help of his team. They get 1 member. Will he get the inhibitor? They're beginning to poke at it, and it looks like Kingzone not ready to re-engage just yet.
All right, ROX Tigers making good decisions. Peanut respawns in 3 seconds. Gorilla is trained down and can't save himself. But things get better. Risky to walk up for this inhibitor as the respawn is there from Peanut. Khan has the number.
He's going to get the 3-man ultimate into the stun, but is it enough? Sangyun in the back. He's doing the lineup and bringing the members in. Prey trying to go 1v5, but it's not going to happen. Everybody on the side of Kingzone goes down. And it looks like finally the ROX Tigers have done it. We're late enough in the game. They're going to push in.
The exhaust from Key won them the fight. Exhausted the entire time was Prey. He could not do it. The insurance plan, I guess it might end up paying out after all, as Kingzone, the game could end here.
Yeah, they're going to re-engage once again as Khan trying to be the hero with the help of Gorilla. They have the wave pushing in the bottom side, though. You'll notice that members of ROX Tigers getting low. They're going to come in onto Gorilla, and they finally get him out. It looks like Khan will meet the same fate. And guys, looks like we're going to a game number 3. The ROX Tigers, they have done it. They've defeated Kingzone in a game victory. Looking for a game 3 victory. Can they do it? We'll see. It's going to be all tied up.
Richly deserved victory for ROX Tigers in game 2. Kingzone continues to be too aggressive, to make the wrong moves. Peanut trading his early experience for the Kog'Maw being a non-factor. They need to find a different way to channel gold onto the Kog'Maw. You still thought they could get back into it after some heroic outplays in the late game, but finally ROX Tigers get a big enough invitation. They'll be frustrated they had to work so hard by Kingzone, but they do close it out in the end and force us to a game 3.
Well, ROX, they love to show up against the strong teams. They defeated KSV, they defeated KT, and they're looking to take out Kingzone in 3 games here. Game 1 was so close. One less mistake from the side of ROX in game 1, and perhaps that's a 2-0 victory over Kingzone. It's crazy how close this series is.
And remember, the SKT fan base is there watching on, desperately wanting Kingzone to beat ROX, as ROX is the most likely team to force SKT out of playoffs and out of 5th. Suddenly, that hope goes a little bit further out, as ROX Tigers, with how Kingzone is playing today, could lose in this particular stage to Kingzone, and ROX Tigers could be our victors.
First time I've seen Khan not so confident in a while. So let's take a look at this last fight and that exhaust you were talking about.
Now watch this through. Prey has gone for as much power early as possible. The QSS, it's set up for Prey to carry, but the exhaust is so big. He's shoved and exhausted and cannot do damage. So by the time he flashes in, everyone's healthier than they should be. So huge change to the exhaust. Getting in range, gets him down. Doesn't matter if the tank is there. Prey was on a budget, and he also was exhausted, so did not have enough damage, and that allowed ROX Tigers to close game 2.
Well, guys, you may not have expected it, but ROX Tigers make it a reality. We are going to be going to a game number 3, one of the closest series we've had so far. We'll join you guys in 10 minutes for that last game.